What's up, guys? John Thacker here with The Real Truth, and I'm here today to talk about Diogenes. Diogenes pushed the customs of his day by sleeping with dogs, pooping and peeing in public and on people. He was weird. He was a weird guy, but I think you'll like him. Now let's get into it. Diogenes was born in 404 BCE in Cynic, and lived with his father. Not much is known about his early life, but while at Cynic, he attempted to deface the currency, and the reason is still unknown. But after the whole event, Diogenes had to be relocated to Athens. While in Athens, one of Diogenes' first acts of cynicism led him to question why he even had a slave named Manes in the first place. So then Diogenes asked himself, if Manes can live without Diogenes, why not Diogenes without Manes? And as simple as that, he set him free. Now, when he got to Athens, he was really interested in the teachings of Antisthenes on asceticism, which is a lifestyle characterized by abstinence from sensual pleasures, often for the purpose of pursuing spiritual goals. But Diogenes only indulged himself into natural sensual pleasures, such as masturbating in public. Diogenes took many teachings and own ideas and applied them to his life, which led to Diogenes being the first major cynic. Now, cynicism is the belief that the only good virtues are self-control and individual freedom, and that surrender to any external influence is beneath the dignity of man. Diogenes pursued to just live in accordance with nature, and taught that humanity has made society overcomplicated. Throughout the life of Diogenes, he liked to show people his philosophy instead of talking about it. While living in Athens, the only possessions he accumulated were a clay jar for housing and a wooden bowl. But when Diogenes saw a boy on the street cup his hands and drink water from a puddle, Diogenes saw how materialistic he became and threw the cup away. Diogenes also had a couple of interactions with Plato, but the most famous one is when Plato proclaimed that humans are bipedal animals without feathers. So, Diogenes then sought a chicken, plucked off all of the feathers, and presented to Plato his definition of a man, which caused Plato to change the description of man to also having broad nails. Diogenes liked to push the boundaries of the social customs of Athens. For example, when Diogenes was tried before a court for eating at a marketplace, Diogenes defended himself, saying, "If only it was so easy to end my hunger by rubbing my belly," showing that just because you are in a certain place does not mean one should restrain themselves of natural drives because of the area's social norms. Even with all of Diogenes' shenanigans, he was actually well liked in Athens, but then one day was taken by pirates and sold as a slave on the island of Crete. Then when his owner asked of Diogenes' past job, he said, "I govern men," which was most likely a pun on how the word govern and teach were pronounced at the time. His master instantly took a liking to Diogenes, and sent him to tutor his kids in Corinth, and that is the last time Diogenes would move. When Diogenes was living in Corinth, and a massive army was on the horizon, the people of the city went into a panic. Diogenes got the great idea to push his clay jar up and down a hill, similar to Sisyphus. And when asked by the citizens on what he was doing, Diogenes replied, "I am being just as useful as all of the other citizens," showing how mass hysteria is useless, solves nothing, and is only a waste of time worrying about events they had no power over. The most famous account of Diogenes' shenanigans is when Alexander the Great conquered all of the Greek peninsula except Sparta. Alexander in his youth heard stories from Aristotle of the famous Diogenes. So, Alexander approaches Diogenes in his clay jar and asks if Diogenes needs anything. He would give anything in his power to help Diogenes, especially with the power this man has at this time, that many people would take up that offer. But Diogenes only replies with, "For you to move out of my sunlight." Alexander was astonished by Diogenes, and his response was, "If I were not Alexander, I would want to be Diogenes." Which then Diogenes responds, "If I were not Diogenes, I would also wish to be Diogenes." Showing Diogenes' value of his own self and his values of not being materialistic. Even with his near end of his life, he wanted to convey the message of simplicity through the disposal of his body. When Diogenes came of age, he was asked what he wanted to do with his dead body. And Diogenes said, "Throw my body outside the walls with a stick so I can fend off the predators." The citizens, confused, then asked why he would want to do that because of his lack of awareness. Then Diogenes says, "If I am not aware of my surroundings when I'm dead, then why would I care?" This has been John Thacker with The Real Truth. Be sure to check out our Twitter and Instagram pages, and I'll see you.